two versions of Nintendo Switch 2. Which one should you get? And is this even actually going to happen? So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. We got some cool new news today, and we're focusing in on the biggest leak about Nintendo Switch 2 having two versions, one of which I think, man, oh man, I don't know how anyone could recommend this version, but we will dive into it. Before we get started, though, I want to let you know, no matter what Switch you have, which version you get, the Lexar Play card is the best memory card on the market. So make sure to click the link in the description down below. They go all the way up to 1 terabyte. That is a ton of memory, and it's the fastest, safest, best memory card. I give it my SwitchForce seal of approval. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic out there. If you're not, it's Monday. I understand it. So, let it be. But we will continue on and hopefully get a little bit better as the video goes on. First off, just want to shout out Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. The game is up to number 5 on the UK charts, which is crazy because that game is way old, but sales on the eShop and sales on Amazon recently have helped pick it up, and I'm so glad because I think that's a really underrated, undersold game that deserves some success. Now, before we get into the two versions of Switch, there's another rumor flying around today about a patent, and I just want to point out that I covered this patent last week, and this patent is almost 99.9% sure not for Switch 2. It seems to be some other variation of Switch Lite, as I mentioned in last week's video, and Nintendo typically does not reveal patents if they're actually going to use them immediately. So even though this is being reported around as like, is this Switch 2? I can pretty much guarantee that it's not. So don't get swindled by that one. Instead, let's talk about this one. It actually comes from Special Nick, who is a rumor person, a leak person. They're typically on the Xbox, PlayStation side. They're from Xbox era, but they do have a Nintendo scoop for us today, stating that Nintendo, according to his sources, are planning a Switch 2 console, two different Switch 2 consoles, one without a cartridge slot, and one that therefore is digital only, and one that cannot do backwards compatibility. So this is really interesting because this is a new flair on what we've heard before. We've heard thoughts of could Nintendo do a digital only and a physical? PlayStation's doing it. Seems like Xbox would love to do it, right? That isn't too out of the realm of possibility. A digital only console, even though it kind of goes against Nintendo's best practices of always focusing on physical media, maybe they want to get with the times, maybe they want to offer something for $50 cheaper, maybe they think that's in their best interest. But what takes things to another level here is that in this rumor, Nintendo Switch 2 digital would also not be backwards compatible. And in my opinion, that completely destroys the benefit or the boost or the savings you get from purchasing the cheaper edition. Let's be real. In order to absolutely abandon your entire Switch games collection, a digital-only, no BC Switch 2 would have to be half the price. $50 is already a tough proposition for digital-only. In my opinion, there's still enough sales on physical games. And it's interesting because we just talked about how Best Buy is ditching Blu-ray and DVD. Walmart might be ditching Xbox games and more. So physical could be coming to an end regardless of how many models of Switch 2 there are. But I think as of right now, there still is enough gas in the physical tank, at least from online retailers and possibly still some, physical brick and mortar retailers, that I would heavily debate $50 to abandon the cartridge slot. But I understand money is not cheap and these systems are not cheap and you want to get games, and if it's okay, I could get the system plus a game if I just ditch the cartridge slot. I usually do digital downloads and eShop stuff mostly anyways. They've got that nice voucher system. I can understand it. Where you lose me, though, is if it will not have backwards compatibility, that's just horrible value proposition. You no longer can play any of your games that you've already established. You no longer can play games that maybe you haven't gotten but will go on sale when there's a new console out. Think about if you skipped over something. I don't know. Say maybe you missed out on the Fire Emblem franchise. It's not really your cup of tea right now, but 3 years down the road, you want to try it, those Switch 1 games are going to probably be cheaper, right? This is not like the OG Nintendo era where niche games are rare and they're hard to get. Nintendo Switch games are selling millions. They should be pretty easy to come by. Or if you got your Switch late, you missed Breath of the Wild, maybe you missed an early Kirby, you want to play those games, it would be nice to be able to still play them. It's also weird here because I don't understand how Nintendo would like completely lock out the digital versions of Switch 1 games. In the, the world, the reality of this rumor slash source leak, there would be no like conversion between eShops, right? We would have a Switch 2 eShop that can download all that and a Switch 1 eShop that's left in the past. There would be no like bridging of still able to search through that because one of the Switch 2 models wouldn't be able to play that stuff. And that's where I kind of say like maybe this rumor, maybe this leak just is not accurate. Maybe Special Nick is mishearing or wrong, specifically on the backwards compatibility side of things. Look, I've seen this rumor being like pushed around that there's 2 models of Switches, and frankly, like we do not know. Nintendo did try 2 models of Wii U, but that was specifically a storage upgrade or a storage baseline. I don't know, there's, to me, a less than 50% chance that Nintendo does do a digital only model because it's something A, they haven't experimented with before, and B, it sort of seems to go against how Nintendo stays like grounded in classic behavior, grounded in classic ideas, and still ran by many classic developers. Now, that's not to say Nintendo can't evolve or change. They've obviously been doing that during the Switch generation, but a digital-only console, especially one with like small cartridges, and especially one that's portable like this, I don't know. I don't know how much benefit that gives you. I don't know that you really need to have a digital-only Switch 2. It feels a little needless to me. So I'm going to go on my record here and say that I think this rumor is false, especially the part about backwards compatibility. There could be multiple Switch models. Maybe one does have a lot more storage and is digital only, one has less storage and is physical, but then that gets to be in like a strange dicey place too, because now your cheaper model has more storage, which typically would be for your more expensive model, but now your more expensive model, the physical cartridge model, has less. I don't know. I don't really see this happening, but maybe there are 2 editions. I can almost guarantee you, though, that these 2 editions will not have one with backwards compatibility and one with not. Like, it's still TBD if Nintendo does go with backwards compatibility or not for Switch 2. I strongly believe that they will. I would put it at like 90+% that Nintendo will employ backwards compatibility in Switch 2 for Switch 1. I think it makes a smoother transition, a better transition, and I think it encourages a seamless unification of the player base, which is something they've aggressively gone after the last 7 years. By eliminating the handheld home console split, they've created one platform to unify their base, and then splitting it again after such extreme success would seem to be a little odd. I give 10% because maybe they do really want to make a line in the sand, change over, and show that the Switch 2 is new. I don't think that's necessary considering PlayStation and Xbox have backwards compatibility and nobody has any issue with those being new systems. But in a world where there are 2 versions of Nintendo Switch 2, if one of them don't have backwards compatibility, do not get that one no matter what. Let's say that they both do and one is just $50 less for digital. I think that's really still a dicey proposition. If $50 is the price split, right? If that's where they go with. If it's $100, now I will give you some more points towards the digital side. I'll say, okay, like $100 is a lot. Saving that off of the system really cuts it by like 25%. That's a big deal. But thinking about things logically, a $300 digital Switch 2 puts it at the same price as the Switch 1, which, are they really wanting to do that? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Nintendo will go with one SKU, one price, $400, and keep it like that. Maybe they actually offer a bumped up storage option, but that still has the physical cartridge slot. I don't know. At a $50 price point, I can't recommend the digital version. At a $100 price difference, it starts to be a little more recommendable. But if it has backwards compatibility distinctions, then don't do it. Let me know your take in the comments down below, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.